I hope everything is okay. Okay. All right. Let me do a bit of adjustment here for you guys. Okay, my fellow Ambazonians, thanks for waiting. I had a bit of technical issues to deal with. Thanks a lot for showing up and for tuning in. Today I have come to have a brief statement. I know my statements, though described as brief, are always very long because we always have a lot to talk about. But thank you for continuously believing in our struggle for freedom. Thank you for being resilient, patient, and understanding. Our struggle is one to bestow self-government to the Amazonian people. For 60 years plus, Amazonians have not been able to govern themselves. And the enemy state has constructed a pariah state over the nation of Ambazonia and handed power to looters, gangsters. It has created numerous cartels within our villages, our quarters, that it has used to legitimize a fraud, a gigantic fraud that has cost the lives of millions of Amazonians, has turned the first democracy, a modern, vibrant society, into a chaotic bunch of mess. And we are grappling with what to do with this mess. And we have come to the conclusion, after more than 50 years of continuous effort, to find a common understanding of the approach of coexistence, governance, and governance philosophies, that it will be essential and incumbent on the Amazonian people to fight their way in expelling Cameroon from our country. As I have said repeatedly, manipulation and deceit has been their key instrument. They have also used hunger, deliberate impoverishment of the Amazonian people, to create a dependency that would be very difficult to detach from them. And so every time Amazonians have risen up, bribery and corruption has been used as a tool against any resistance. They have recruited from amongst us traitors and beneficiaries of the system of deprivation and exclusion to undermine our narrative, the credibility of our struggle, and the integrity of the actors who function on behalf of the Amazonian people. We have put to an end this macabre system that has given us enough pain and disgrace. Fellow Amazonians, war is a method of conflict resolution. It is a strategy. Most oftentimes, war is the last resort every people rely on to end a system of tyranny and a system that has imposed pain on them. Our track record to this historical reality is clear for everyone to see. The picking up of arms has come after several decades of painstaking efforts by our forebears to push Cameroon to a point of understanding, not only to see us as humans, but to allow us to govern ourselves, develop our societies, our capabilities, and to live a life worthy of dignity. Cameroon has responded to these entreaties with violence, brutality, and arrogance, believing very strongly that we were so subdued and deprived and depraved that it would be impossible for any single person or generation to rise up and disentangle themselves from the servitude that we had been placed under. And so war should never be seen, as it is being propagated by Cameroon, as some primary choice, and that there are alternative methods through which this conflict, which is a conflict of occupation, a conflict of deprivation, a conflict of violence, can be resolved. This manipulation is based on desperation by an arrogant enemy that believed it could wipe us out in 2 weeks. My fellow people, today, I want to let you know that you have defeated Cameroon. I remind you because you easily forget. You have a different sense of victory. I want to tell you, you have prevailed over the barbarians and the system it has imposed in your land. We chose armed resistance to be able to respond to the politics of violence and murder against Ambazonians. 7 years into this armed resistance, Ambazonian forces are standing, are controlling territory, have increased the cost of the military occupation of our country. Despite our loss, despite the killing of our top generals, we have designed a military command and control that could be resilient and overcome any attempt at decapitation. And from the killing of General Ivo, right down to General Efang, Alaji, Sargon, we have shown that the taking out of our top generals will not be the end of the armed resistance. My people, running a war is a very difficult endeavor. I am running a war using my cell phone for the past 7 years. I do not, like La République, have a command center. I do not have a budget. I do not have international partners from whom I can get money. I have not signed any military corporations with other countries. For 7 years, the command center of Ambazonian resistance has been a cell phone. And for what we have achieved, without support, without training, with all the hurdles placed in front of us, I can say to you people without any doubt that if you are still standing, if you are listening to me at this moment, it is because you have prevailed. It is up to you to own this victory. Occupation is political, it's not military. That takes me to the other strategies which we design. Economic sabotage. Occupation is predicated on economic extortion and exploitation. Through our efforts, we have been able to undermine the sacrilege, the almost wholesome extortion and broad daylight robbery of Ambazonia by Cameroon. We have put a dent on it. We haven't stopped it completely, but we have put a dent on it. We have, through armed resistance and organization, required those who do business in our land, those who have prevailed through extortion and exploitation, to pay taxes to Ambazonians. We have been able to curtail the level of foreign companies like we did in Mezam, where even a company that was picking trash from our street came from their side. We are working extremely very hard to compel other companies to show proof of the number of Ambazonians that are employed in senior executive positions. We will alter the economic philosophy of those who do business in our country. Our struggle for independence is not simply decolonization and removing Cameroon from our land. It is a gradual takeover of Amazonia, self-government through private and public institutions. We have been able to defeat completely their educational system that was grounded in deceit, in creating liabilities, in making Amazonians useless, in propagating a philosophy that was detrimental to our own very existence. We might not have gone far, but for the first time since 1961, we are running thousands of schools that use our curriculum of education. You have been made to believe that the test of knowledge is in the certificates. And so you've been made to believe unless we show proof of certification, which is the colonial mentality, we do not have a right to take ownership. We have shown you that we needed not to show proof of any ability to run defense to be able to establish an army. We showed you clearly that we needed not provide an alternative to ban CEMAC number plate. Decolonization is your ability to assert your own socio-economic and political philosophy in the midst of chaos and gradually nurture it to grow and replace a system which you use the military and other economic strategies to remove. If you fail to believe in yourselves, if you fail to own your own factors of production, you will rely on the enemy until you are defeated again. You have to believe in yourself. In the past 7 years, without bilateral agreements, without asking the IMF, the World Bank, the European Economic Fund, the African Development Banks for loans, we Ambazonians, without even creating PTAs, have established community schools. We have shown you that students are able to go to this school. We have now established an online education system that can teach you everything you need. And you can see wherever you are and find a job wherever you are. You can be able to use the knowledge you acquire through our online education to be a productive individual within the Amazonian community. The deceit and the manipulation, the intoxication that being a farmer, being a mechanic, being a hairdresser was a denigration is a fallacy which we must defeat. If we need to be free, we need to humanize, to dignify work, and to salute the bravery of our Bayam Selam, our mama and papa, who plow the fields and plant in Jamanjama and sell it to have given us the education to place us where we are today. The enemy has made us to believe what we do is not satisfactory. What we do is not enough. What we do is undignifying. The names we have, the names of our villages, our own culture, our own food, they made us not to believe in ourselves. Our struggle for freedom is not only simply to take over a piece of land, it's to turn to its head this socio-economic and political abuse that we have been subjected to and made us a dependency to ourselves, a laughing stock to ourselves, even though we took the path of exile, came out here and saw their inadequacies and realized the plumber was the hero here, the electrical engineer was the hero here, the beauty creator in the salon was the hero here. This is the struggle to restore dignity to the Ambazonian people. And that is why self-government is critical. La Republic imposed quarterheads, they imposed chiefs through whom they could take over our land, block by block, with our own participation without us knowing. And to disentangle it seems like we are fighting amongst ourselves because we find ourselves unraveling the fabric of colonialism that had churned into the fabric of our society, where your mother is a colonialist, your neighbor is a colonialist, the quarterhead is a colonialist, the chief is a colonialist. And when you rise up against all of this system of extortion and deprivation, you portray yourself as though you're fighting against yourself. My people, it's going to be a difficult fight, but I want you to be prepared. I want you to achieve mental liberation so you can walk on the street, even here in Europe, with your boxer and sing hail, 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 and be proud of yourself. Freedom is the most tangible gift that we can ever have. To think freely, to be mentally liberated. You find yourself even in poverty being a happy person. Our fight is far bigger than taking over a piece of land. My fellow people, you own Ambazonia. You shall design the socio-economic and political system to respond to our own reality, and you shall make it. I can assure you, I told you people a few months ago that Singapore, that got palm from West Africa, makes $12 billion a year in palm and its derivatives. $12 billion, far bigger than the budget of La République du Cameroon. I am telling you, you do not understand the benefit of energy. I went to school in Gembo where there were days you had to burn eucalyptus tree to have light to read. Every industry is going to be powered by the energy we can generate. I told you, all the grids in La République that generate power for La République is less than half the amount that can be generated from Yoke. We are not going to power every home in Ambazonia. We are going to make sure it is free of charge. And the excess that we have, we are going to export it. And if that is not enough, the amount of sunlight we have should make every household have a panel up to light the house, make our mothers and our fathers and our brothers to live in dignity, not to be born in servitude, grow up in servitude, die in servitude, in a land boundless with opportunities. We are not simply fighting for an abstract freedom. It's tangible. You are not going to replicate, to duplicate the systems of deprivation and curtailment that you've been used to. If you are in Momo, the House of Assembly will be called Inep, and you will come to embrace it. The House of the People. It shall be in a language you understand. It will be difficult to be overthrown. It will be difficult to be replaced. by foreign systems wrapped around economic philosophies to extract resources and replicate with death and destruction. If you've never known why you fight for things far bigger than the notion of independence. You fight for things so important that people are willing to sell an entire neighborhood to cross the Mediterranean and the Atlantic in search of it. It's right in our backyard in Ambazonia. With a little bit of more effort, we will be there. But it will not be heralded. You will not get up one morning and this freedom is coming up from the sky like manna. No, it will be block by block, issue by issue, from education to the legal system, to the number plates, to the language that we speak, to the number of Ambazonians in every external parastatal that is in Ambazonia. Because only then can we generate the amount of wealth that we can reinvest in our society to create opportunities, to be respected, to create the political and economic environment for foreign investment. You will not wait until full freedom to be able to put an educational system that benefits you. You will not wait until every inch of Amazonia is liberated to begin to practice the system of self-governance that you dream of. It will begin right away. One good morning, you will get up and Ambazonia has changed. It will look so strange to La Republique, and it must have happened because of the policies we put in place at this particular moment. On the 16th of May, brave Ambazonians in the great state of Manu handed down special status to the barbarians of our land. And I want to thank our forces in Manu who have been resilient in the face of death, in the face of infiltration by the enemies using elites, proxies who have no shame. On the 17th of May, Ambazonian forces in Ngokitungia handed down special status to 3 enemy forces. The enemy responded as usual with the burning down of homes, causing mayhem and destruction. Amazonian power prevailed. The anarchy of the enemy was in full display, and I want to thank the bravery of our forces in the great state of Ngokitungia. On the 18th of May, in the state of Mezam, our forces in Akum engaged in a broad daylight raid around our border, and they handed down special status to 1 enemy combatant, critically wounding so many, and they are now in hospitals across Bamenda. On the 19th of May, Ambazonian forces in Fako also demonstrated bravery with enforcing the lockdown we had called on the 19th and on the 20th. On the 20th of May, in Mezam, along the Bafut axis, our forces sent to hell a couple of colonial forces, ensuring that the enemies that were assembled to celebrate the day of shame all ran away. Still in Mezam on the 20th of May, our forces in our wing also took out the brigade commander of the brigade there. In Boyo, along the Belo axis on the 20th of May, we made it absolutely clear all those who enable, accommodate colonialism or colonial apologies, whether they are imposters in political positions, that one day we're going to deal with you. The mayor, colonial mayor, his inspector, and 2 other colonial agents were removed from the battlefield. In the great state of Momo, our forces in Widikum made it absolutely clear there will be no celebration of a day of shame in our country. And they were able to demonstrate strength and make sure that they disperse the enemies. In Bui, Our forces along Jakiri patrol our street with strength, and other units were able to use pops to be able to disperse the enemy. Prior to 20th of May, the enemy announced that this 20th of May will show that there has been a return to normalcy. They said hundreds of thousands of people will be able to come out to celebrate a day that Ambazonia's annexation was cemented. They proclaim with arrogance that every Ambazonian will come out to celebrate thuggery, daylight, robbery, and assassination. You, the Ambazonian people, rejected them. You, the Ambazonian people, took charge. And I ask you to take custody of your destiny, to take custody of the destiny of your children, the dreams and hopes and aspirations of 9 million of all of us. Take custody of it. As I said, armed resistance is only a method. Going forward, we must bring back the spirit of diaspora nationalism. And I am asking all Ambazonians in the diaspora to begin to plan for activities of the 1st of October. It should be a massive show of force in the diaspora to give back hope to the Ambazonian people that they are not left alone. This struggle is not only for our forces, it's for the Ambazonian people, all of us. Those in jail in the IDPs, as IDPs in refugee camps. From today, we must begin the preparation, massive participation across the diaspora in the homeland in celebration of our Day of Independence. We will do this to show those who are in jail that this is serious business. We'll do this to show our IDPs and refugees that we own Amazonia. We'll do this to give hope to those in the diaspora that will be coming back home soon. And we'll do this to show the families of those who've lost their lives that their children didn't die in vain. My fellow people, we are at war. After every victory, the enemy wants blood so that it can control the narrative, so that you can stop talking about your victory and start talking about your pain. I ask all of you, whatever you think about, wherever you may be, to think Ambazonia and commit and dedicate and make sure you become the primary investors in your own liberation as to be the primary owners of your own destiny. On Saturday, we have a fundraiser. I said and I promise we will do this every month until the last troop of La Republique leaves the land. On Saturday, we meet again. I call on all AGovC missions, all members of that mission to continuously commit. I call on all Ambazonians who are not members of the AGovC to continuously commit so that we can continuously invest in the resistance, support our forces, support sovereignty projects, and gradually give self-governance to the Ambazonian people. God bless you all. Thank you very much, and God bless Ambazonia.